Brave Surrender by Kim Walker Smith. The Layers of Forgiveness. A few months before Skylar and I met, I had an experience that sent me into a whirlwind of anxiety. I went with Banning and Chris to lead worship at a church conference. As soon as we got there, I told Banning that I had a really bad feeling about being there and that something was not right. He encouraged me to just focus on what I was there to do. The church had sent someone to pick us up from the airport, and the moment I met this person, something just felt off. He ended up being the main contact and driver for me. This is on page 140. Chris and the band, over the course of our time there, we experienced a couple of strange moments when he seemed upset by us or snapped at us in response to our questions. I chalked it up to his age. He was very young and decided it was probably an attitude issue that had nothing to do with us. I was really struggling with this uneasy feeling that kept coming over me, and I found it difficult to stay calm and not withdraw. On the Sunday morning after the conference, Chris and I had been asked to lead worship at the church because it was small and couldn't host the entire band. We were doing an acoustic set. Prior to the service, as Chris and I worked through the set list, this person interrupted our conversation and told us we should pick slower, softer songs. He explained that he led worship there most of the time, and that because it was early, a lot of people would be tired and it might be too much for them if we did the bigger songs. I thought this was a great moment to teach this young worship leader, and I gently tried to explain that worship leaders cannot cater to people's sleepiness. We should instead try to help them engage with some exciting songs and encourage them to engage in praise and worship despite how they may be feeling. A short time after we got back home, the church's pastor sent emails to Banning and other leaders at our church that brought multiple accusations against me. The biggest lie was that I had yelled at this young man and said, "I'm not here to cater to you." The pastor then emailed me, firing away with angry accusations. He said I had acted like a rock star and treated people very poorly. He never paused to ask any questions, but assumed to know everything. I was devastated. I had never had something like this happen before. I had never been accused of the things he accused me of. It made me sick to my stomach to think that anyone would think such horrible things about me. I also felt every justice button inside me being pushed. From the time I was a little girl, I had a strong sense of right and wrong. In the recurring nightmare about Peter, my mom's second husband, I was always standing between him and my sister, feeling a need to protect her. With Greg, I was the first to call out his behavior for what it was and try to attack him in self-defense many times. There was an innate cry inside me for justice, a demand that when something is wrong, it should be made right. Thankfully, when this pastor made these accusations against me, my leaders at Bethel and Banning came to my defense and did not believe a word of it. In their experience, this was something you let roll off your shoulders and move on, but I couldn't get over it so easily. I couldn't stand the thought that such a person existed in the world who not only thought bad things about me, but also vocalized those things to others. When I expressed this to Banning, he gently pointed out that I had a need inside me to please people. At first, I balked at this suggestion, but as I took a hard, honest look at myself, I realized the reason this was so devastating was that I hated the idea of someone not liking me. The thought that I couldn't please everyone, as ridiculous as this may sound, was deeply upsetting to me. Banning wanted to help me see that I needed to kill that thing inside me that wanted to please everybody, because it was sure to trip me up later on. But even after I acknowledged this people-pleasing need in me and asked God to set me free from it, I still felt anger connected to my need for justice. Furious thoughts churned through me whenever I thought about the wrong that had been done to me. How dare he? How dare this pastor act so carelessly and spew accusations? And did God do anything about it? No. He's still a pastor and still speaking carelessly. This is just like my stepdads. Did God punish them for what they did to me? No, he did not. He didn't care about the injustices done to me. When I finally spoke these thoughts out loud, the word that stood out to me was punish. I wanted the people who hurt me to be punished, and I wanted God to punish them. Even after forgiving my stepdads and seeing how God had redeemed my story in spite of the wrongs they had done to me, deep down I still had an expectation that if God really loved me, he would execute justice by punishing those who had wronged me. I started to feel angry at God because I didn't see him punishing them. Skylar was so caring and gentle with me through all of this. It was such a new and wonderful experience to not have to face these things alone. He was defensive of me, cried with me, and empathized with me. And he also encouraged me toward Jesus. Most of all, he kept loving me through all the ups and downs of my emotions. At some point in the midst of this struggle, a man named John Arnott spoke at our church. While perusing his book table in the lobby, one of the titles of his books stood out to me: What Christians Should Know About the Importance of Forgiveness. I bought the book and read it in one sitting. Two things impacted me. The first was learning that there are layers to forgiveness. As God peels back one layer and walks you through forgiveness, you get a degree of healing. But down the road, God may